What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm not a familiar face, but today I had to take command of the round table because Washington got it done. Oh, I'm so excited. Let's go.
Anthony.
But yo, I'm not the only one here. I have two amazing co-hosts on the show with me. You see who it's with. The host of the with Delilah Crespo.
Woo! What's up? What's up?
Yeah. And man, Mr. Do Something Before Do Something. Mr. UGA himself.
Go dog.
Anthony Handy.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? What's good, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Fingers, coming to you from Zagna Central, all the way in the heart of Oklahoma City. And I'm very happy to be here because it's my favorite part of the game.
Let's go. And this is the only man that could be live and in the comments at the same time. He is first, undisputed. Let's get it going. Ladies and gentlemen.
The evil genius is still undisputed.
You know who it is. Yes, I know I am not our darling, our great, our Mr. I want the smoke, Nicholas Rosario, but he is a little bit under the weather after watching such a nail biter between Chicago and Detroit. Went back and forth, and I think saw some more bright spots than anything else in that game because you got a quarterback. I'll say that right now. But look, let's go ahead and get into this real quick. Before we get to talking football, we definitely have to take a moment and pay our respects. If you saw on Let's Talk Football yesterday, we discussed it. It's been in the news. The UVA football team lost 3 of its players, Deshaun Perry, Lavelle Davis, and Devin Chandler, all victims of gun violence. They have apprehended the guy who was responsible for this. He is in custody, so that is good news. But at the same time, it's really none of this is good. You don't want any of this stuff to happen. And you know, I live in Virginia, so this is 2 hours away from me. You know what I mean? Delilah, I'm coming to you. I mean, Virginia, man, is a magnet for a lot of this stuff. You got Charlottesville going on, VT. Yeah. Like, oh, man, this is rough.
It is rough, but, I mean, it's not just Virginia or West Virginia. You know, it's sad. It's sad, you know. And I feel really awful for, you know, their family who sent their, you know, sons to school.
Yeah.
You know, and expected a phone call. You know what I mean? It's just no parent, guardian, whoever, like, should ever have that phone call, right? Like, you know, and so my heart goes out to their friends and family, the whole campus, the community. And I hope that everybody gets some healing, and whoever you need to talk to about grief, like it's a real thing, and trauma, like go ahead, talk to somebody if you need that help. For the family and, you know, and relatives, I know they don't want to hear that right now. So you grieve the way you need to, you know, you take the time you need to. Don't let people tell you how to grieve. Okay. But honestly, my heart goes out to all y'all. Prayers for UVA. Seriously.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Anthony, I mean, look, you and I both talk college all the time, and, you know, we get caught up in the NIL and the transfer and winning and this and that. But at the end of the day, these are kids.
Yes.
These are just kids, man. Like, talk to me, man.
You know, I'm a father of 4 and stepfather of 2, and these boys are younger, or I'm not exactly, I don't know how old they were, but they're right around with my youngest son. You know what I mean? And it's I cannot fathom as a parent, and you know, what it is like to bury your own child. You know, the natural order follows. If the natural order of life follows, the parents bring the children into the world, they raise the children up, and then eventually the children wind up tending to the parents in their later years, and the children bury the parents. But when that cycle is broken, there is something as a parent that you just, I mean, a lot of people don't ever recover from.
Yeah.
I know I have friends that are my age that lost children, have angel babies, and they still talk about it. It is still a part of them that's missing because that's a child that they lost. Let alone bring one into the world, raise, grow, know, and grow to love and lose.
Yeah.
On the other side of this issue, I don't know what it is that's going on with people. That's like the world is such a horrible place. I mean, we've talked about mental illness on this show before. We've had a couple of examples in the league last year, or one particular example. But what is it that drives you if mental illness is not involved? What is it that drives a person to want to take another person's life, as precious as a life is?
Yeah,
that's something that I don't understand.
It's rough. It's rough, ladies and gentlemen. And we know that the guy that, or at least they've said, the guy that was apprehended for this and taken into custody used to be a member of the football team. And he was dismissed. So he knew the people that he did this to. So it's just rough, man. You just got to send your prayers to the families, and to him that, if it is mental health, that he gets help. So this is definitely rough, but we definitely wanted to take time out to just to put our hearts out there, and let the families and them know we're here, because that's just a terrible thing. You never want to see that happen. Oh man. Okay. Gotta take a deep breath, ladies and gentlemen, because as we've seen in the comments, you've noticed that Nick isn't here. No, David. Nick will not be here. I command this show, David. Let's go. It's been 10 minutes. All right, it's been 5 minutes.
I'm keeping count. No, there's no restriction. Listen, before the show started, I'm gonna let you finish. But before the show started, I comically put to the group that we take a vote by majority vote that a certain member of the trio be limited to the use of one pun using the word command per 15 minutes. And then we said, no, we're not going to do that. We just want to let you know that we know it's coming. So that's 2. We've been on for 8 minutes and 29 seconds. We 2 in. So I'm keeping count. And you see, look, I don't forget the church finger. You see me doing this, I'm just counting.
Let's go. Yo, we see all of you in the comments. Sydney, David, Katie. Wendy's back. What's going on?
Yeah,
Wendy?
hey,
So
Wendy.
glad you got the W. We are commanders.
Hey, hold on, sir. OG, Godfather, with your esteemed permission, we forgot to shout somebody out. It does dishonor when we don't pay homage to everyone that's due their homage.
Come on now.
We're forgetting someone. We're forgetting someone special. I don't see them in the comments, but I'm sure that they will see this later. So we want to send a shout out, a special shout out, and condolences to our friend. Your other half of the Down and Dirty Does That Make Me Crazy crew.
Oh, yeah.
Janae, we understand the pain that you must be going through right now to see your squad fall and to see the squad that you hate so much reign victorious. But do understand that there are those of us that, though we share in your pain because our squads are not as mighty as yours, that are internally laughing our faces off right now.
Let's go. Great command of that segment, my friend.
13 seconds.
Let's go. Yes. You like that? You absolutely right. I like that. I can finally say that. But look, we got to get into the show. We see all of you here. This is
Hi, everybody.
the Roundtable. We are so glad you were able to join us. So let's get right into it. You know how every game starts. It starts with the coin toss. Yeah, buddy. And ladies and gentlemen, normally we go around and talk about certain topics. But there's only one thing we're talking about right now. David, stay tuned. The Washington Commanders beat Philly.
Oh man.
Let's go. Let's go. For all of you that hit me up last night, you know I wanted to go on live last night, but I didn't. I waited for today. And you know what? I'm not going to talk. I'm going to let other people talk. Delilah, me and you talked before. A lot of these Monday night and Sunday night and Thursday night games are terrible. This was a good game, Delilah.
This was a good game. It was fun, actually. It was exciting to watch. I actually like that both teams actually scored. It wasn't like 16-13 and something awful like that, you know. So it was actually really fun. Both football. It was fun to watch, and we knew that the Eagles at some point were gonna catch an L, and it just happened that it was the division game, and it was the Commanders that gave them that L. Like, I feel like it's not impossible, but I think those years where we started to see teams just go like undefeated. I don't know if we can get back to that, you know, just the way the league is. But hey, you know what? That was a fun game. Like, you know, I ain't gonna hate on either team, but kudos to the Commanders for getting the W over the Eagles. Like, seriously, like that was fun. It was fun to watch.
No, absolutely. Hey, and you know it was fun for me. But even from like a you know,
just football,
from a football standpoint, from breaking it down, it was a great game because we had to play almost a perfect game. And that first half, we played pretty solid. And now I'm gonna come to you, Anthony, because one of the things that I noticed is that, you know, through eight games, the Eagles had never trailed. So in that second half, Jalen Hurts kind of had this look on his face that was kind of familiar, like when he was in college, where it was kind of like kind of sulking, like, ugh, like. So does this mean
that same look that he had when Nick Saban bitched him for a guy that wound up playing quarterback for Miami?
Speak on it. I mean, because look,
Jalen, miss your face.
We know how you feel, but look, I mean, they're still 8-1, but at the same time, you know, we kind of gave a blueprint: run the ball, keep that offense off the field, and frustrate Jalen Hurts. Man, what do you think?
You hit it right on the head. The first time I saw, you know, I have a little deeper. For those folks that didn't know Jalen before he got drafted, I have a little deeper background with Jalen about 5.5 years back, where if you got him rattled in any way, shape, form, or fashion, he would slowly start to come unglued. And the more you rattle him, the more the fabric would start to come apart.
Yep.
And he didn't necessarily come unglued, but it was, I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I was just hoping y'all would keep the game competitive, and I was cooking. And then I was like, oh, snap, you know what? I can pull up the app on my phone and watch it through the cable app and with the virtual remote. Oh, yeah. And I pulled it up, and I said to my wife, holy, they're winning. I did the sound effect myself. Did you like that?
I like that. That was nice. That was his own sound effects.
Yeah.
I said, my wife said, what? I said, I kid you not. The Washington Commanders are winning. And she said, for real though? Because this is my wife who sat and watched her team lose to the Packers yesterday. But I started watching, and Heineke stayed calm. He stayed cool. You know, they had a couple of drives fall flat. They didn't get frustrated. Brian Robinson Jr., you can't tell me he got shot in the leg. That boy was out there hustling.
He was cooking.
That boy was out there hustling. I think he went to the same doctors and put the $6 million man back together. We can make him better. We can make him stronger. He was out there hustling. The defense, oh my God. That Chase Young, when Jalen tried to scramble and Chase just broke the block off, he did this. Watch the slow-mo. He did this with one hand to the defender. With his other arm, he just reached out and grabbed Jalen and said, where you going? And then just laid on top of it. He deboed Jalen. Listen, I'm not a Commanders fan by any stretch. I'm not a hater either. But that was a phenomenal game by the Commanders yesterday. A phenomenal game. And you're right. That's what they had to do. The catch with Scary Terry, down on the right. But I was just watching this game like,
Yeah,
because I know what I saw the series, the games before. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and tip my hat. I'll say it. Kudos to you boys, man. They did what they had to do.
and they came correct. They came correct. But in the end of the day, we did the same thing we did in the first game. We shut down the running game. They got under 100 yards again this time. But this time we were able to shut down the pass. But I do want to go back to something he said, Delilah. He talked about our running back. I was screaming when he scored that touchdown and put his arm in there. And I was saying, ain't no bullet can stop him. Ain't no defense can stop him. He is a grown damn man.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that, Delilah.
No, like I honestly I strongly believe in a strong running game. Like I really do. And I think that kid, honestly, one is just kind of what like Anthony was saying is just, I feel like he's got to be up there for comeback player, right? Like honestly, like he
Absolutely.
literally came back from almost losing his life and is playing just great football. So it's exciting to watch him, and I want to see him improve and continue to dominate and grow. Because honestly, that kid, he's got it, man. Like so, cool. Like honestly, he's fun to watch, and I hope that he just keeps getting better and better.
I told y'all though. I told y'all when he was at Bama. I told y'all because I was watching him at Bama. I said that boy's nasty. He's gonna.
Yeah, he was one of your rookie spotlights.
He gonna do work when he come in the league. Watch. Yeah. I told Skip Bayless. I told Jenny. I called home to Sterling. I told Sterling. I said, you know what? I don't even really like Nick Saban all that much. I'm tired of him and all them commercials. He need to just retire and let Dion do the one with the jab go. So, right. but I said, Brian Robinson, if you never watched the running back before, this is the running back to watch. And what is that boy doing? He in there cooking. And you know what? Brian Robinson, he called in. He said, Shay, can I do a little cooking? And I let him in the kitchen, and he cooked up some big old fat L's last night for the Philly game.
There you go. Glad he's cooking because Russ is not. Listen, speaking of quarterbacks, Delilah, look, I got to talk about it. David brought this up. Heineken was cool and calm like Nick Foles running the Philly special. Kid ain't got nothing to lose, everything to gain. He was playing with house money in a divisional game. We got to move on to this because Carson Wentz is now healthy. He's officially healthy today. He can come back and start if necessary. But we have the hot hand. Taylor's 3-1 in his last 4 games.
Right.
We're 4-1 in our last 5, and now we're 5-5. So, talk to me, Delilah. Do we bench Taylor for Carson, or do we stick with the hot hand?
I mean, you have to start your starter. I mean, I get it. Like you have to put him back out there. It's just, that Sydney's saying exactly what I was saying earlier before the game. Yep. But like, I feel like Ron is in a hard place because you do have your starter back, right? Mm-hmm. And like, regardless of what anybody thinks, he's your QB1. But then I could also see, like, on the other hand, you have a quarterback who's winning games for you, like, has rallied the team around him so far, is getting, he's we always talk about this, right? Regardless of how it's done, when you're the quarterback, right, you get the W, right? Regardless of, and so he's gonna get credit for all of these. It's not to mention that his personality doesn't hurt. He's funny. He's a good time out there. He's drinking Bud Light on the airplane.
Right. Can I get in here real quick? Kirk Cousins, take note. He didn't have to take his shirt off. All right, he could just sit there calmly and drink a beer. Thank you kindly. Go ahead, Delilah.
So yes, do I think that once he needs to go back out there, he does? Because I think that he is your starter. He's your QB hot hander. He needs to get back out there and see if he can continue that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just that simple to me. Yeah, it's to me. You got to put him back out there. Put Wentz back out there. See if you can keep the hot hand going, and put Heine back at back up. Because obviously at the end of the day, if it ain't working out, it's just you got him there. So it's not like you can't bench Wentz. You know what I'm saying?
And
so like, so in my opinion, you got to go with your QB1. You got to get Wentz out there and see if you can continue the hot streak because that's what I think. But hey,
Handy, what say you?
Oh, I'm going to go the complete opposite direction, sir.
There we go.
I think no offense, Delilah, but I'm gonna have to disagree with
No,
you.
I'm not
This is
taking.
what
Go
I
for
have to
it.
say about this.
That's why it's a round
Quarterback,
table.
um, um, football, especially professional. Well, if there's any sport that has been very political about the quote unquote skill positions, it's been football. There's always this assumption that the starter gets hurt and the backup goes in, and then the starter comes back as soon as they're readily available. I think that's part of what has given quarterbacks all of this leverage, which is why they get the bigger piece of the pie, which is why they hold so much of the blame and so much of the glory with the win or the loss. Quarterback could go in and play a perfect game, no interceptions, no fumbles, no penalties. DB could miss a key play and give up a 75-yard touchdown in overtime for the loss, and the quarterback would get blamed for it because he didn't play well. This is what I'm saying. I'm gonna strip all of that away, starter, non-starter, whatever. Your job when they say, and with the blah 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 pick, the such and such team selects so and so quarterback, boom boom. Your job is to show up and be quarterback of the team, regardless if you first string, second string, third string. If the second stringer is getting the job done that the first stringer couldn't, and the first stringer is hurt, don't be afraid to make that switch. I'm gonna give you two examples. I just brought one up about 5 minutes ago. Nick Saban, in the middle of a national championship game, took his Heisman Trophy. He was up for the Heisman. He was in the Heisman running. That boy was in the running for the Heisman. He said, "Nope, sit down. Tua, go play." Tua won the championship, and Tua came back as the starter the following season. And then what happened? Tua faltered, and he said, "Hey Tua, hey Jalen, come play." Bill Belichick, Drew Bledsoe led the Patriots all the way that far, got hurt. Tom Brady stepped in and won the Super Bowl. Drew Bledsoe faded off in the distance, like when Judy went up the stairs on episode 3 of Family
Okay,
Matters.
but
We never
when
saw her again.
ain't Tom Brady? I'm sorry.
But no, but you understand. But you understand what I'm saying.
Or Heineke.
You understand what I'm saying. Heineke is getting the job done right now.
He ain't Tom
That-
Brady.
But look,
okay.
but what? Look, but you. So to your point, that actually happened to Wentz already, though. You know, Wentz got hurt after being 11-1. Nick Foles came in, and nobody looks at Nick Foles like he's the number one guy, but he was the hot hand and led them all the way. Look, I'll put a cap on this. In my opinion, you do have to ride with the hot hand. You do have to ride. And Coach Rivera said he's going to talk to the players. He's going to go to the guys to ask them how they feel. So I'm sure Brian Robinson, that O-line, Terry McLaurin, Samuel, the defense. We're getting, Chase back. We're getting the defense back and healthy. And it's like we got some momentum. We play the Texans, and then we play this team in 2 weeks. So I think that might be 2 W's. Is that back-to-back W's? Is that what that is, Anthony Handy? But look, I honestly think you have to ride the hot hand, because here's the other thing. And Delilah, you and I talked about this before the show. Derrick Henry, he got hurt midway through the season. The Tennessee Titans had to learn how to win without Derrick Henry. Well, for the playoff game, he comes back in. They have to go back to their offense and pattern it all towards him. They weren't successful. Now, other things maybe played a part, but this is kind of a similar situation where if you throw Wentz back in there, not only do we have to deal with him getting his field back because he's been out, he's got to get his legs back because he hasn't been, running and doing all that stuff, but he also has to deal with that finger. That finger's always going to be on his mind. And every time he gets close to a helmet or something, he's going to jerk back. You know what I mean? And we're not in Chicago. I know how cold it is, but we got a little nip outside. It's a little chilly out there. I had to put the sweater on. Y'all want to see sweater? Yeah, baby. Let's go. I had to command that moment. Let's get it. All right.
There's another one.
I missed one. That's fine.
I honestly, and we have the Houston Texans next, like I said, and we have the Falcons, who, no disrespect, but are struggling, kind of trying to figure that thing out. I think you let Heineke go in because these are winnable ball games. Now, if we come out next week and lose to the Texans, get out of here. Go. I'm done with you. You know what I mean? But let him see what he can do. but let me be very clear. In my opinion, Wentz is by far better. Now, Heineke can scramble out and make some plays, but Wentz is the guy. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what Ron does.
Yeah.
Um,
It's his call.
Yeah, it's his call. Real quick, I do want to say R.I.P. to his mother. His mother, Dolores, just passed away not too long ago. And I don't know if you've seen it, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't, go check it out. Ron Rivera was very emotional in the locker room. I mean, couldn't even get the words out. And he just said she would have been so proud. And I'm just, let me step back for a second, because it was just a beautiful thing. It was absolutely a beautiful thing. But look, for all of you non-Washington fans, I am not talking about my team. I can talk about other teams. I'm going to talk about a team that seems to be taking over the league. In the game of the year, the Minnesota Vikings beat the Buffalo Bills. Oh, he's out again, 33-30. Delilah, this game went into overtime, but it was 27-10 at one point.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, talk to me about this one. This is the best game of the year.
Let me tell you, that was a great game because no one saw that coming. Everybody just said Minnesota catch the L, you know, whatever. They still would have been a top 3 team. Like, that's the other thing people don't understand. Even if they would have got this L, they're still like top 3. Like, they're still at the top. But anyway, regardless, honestly, they need to give a lot of thanks to their defense that stepped up and started making really, like, you know, the difference in stopping, you know, Mr. Magic, right? Josh Allen, like, got, you know, took advantage of his mistakes, because he did make some costly mistakes, you know, like he made a lot of costly mistakes that game, and Minnesota capitalized on that. That catch by Justin Jefferson, my God, that kid, that was ridiculous. Because honestly, when that ball went and he's literally surrounded by defenders and he actually caught that, I was like, that was impressive as heck, you know. And then Mr. Dalvin Cook ran it 81 yards back for rushing to 81 yards. That man had an 81 rushing touchdown. And so, like, they single-handedly, in my opinion, like, really brought that team back into, like, winning. So, like, honestly, like, that was just exciting. Kirk took advantage. I know he had 2 interceptions, but he didn't let that rattle him. Came back. They got the plays that he needed, you know. And, again, they took advantage of the Bills messing up in the end zone of all places. Like, how they lost the ball. They fumbled in the end zone, and the defense dived on. Which kudos to that guy, remembering fundamentals, right? When your defensive coordinator is like, hey, if there's a ball loose, you jump on that. You take advantage. They got a touchdown out of it. Literally a touchdown, because they fumbled right there, right at the end zone, right at home. They got a touchdown out of that. And we were like, what just happened? Then it went into overtime. I mean, that was crazy. That was wild. Like, that was, you know, kudos to Minnesota. I can't hate on that. That was fun to watch. They really came back and just took advantage. Intercepted Mr. Josh Allen in the end zone as well. And that won the game in overtime. That was it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Like, just, you know, kudos, man. That was a lot of fun to watch.
And look, and you're absolutely right. I mean, everybody's saying game of the year, and we're going to talk about that catch in just a second. But, Anthony, you know, I've heard a lot of people kind of saying what Jared is saying. Josh Allen exactly what we thought he was. Bum sauce. Now, I don't know if they're saying bum sauce. We know Janae, our dear friend, thinks it's a massive piece of magic. And I got to say, when he is on fire, he is that.
Yes, sir.
But
like NBA Jam in 1993.
Well, right. But Allen is loudly leading the league in INTs. Look, a lot of what I've heard is with Josh Allen, it's either touchdown or bust. He's going to go either make that great play, go have games like the Chiefs game in the playoffs a year ago, or he's going to have it where they're up 27-10 and you can't close out the Vikings. So what are you thinking of the Bills going forward and Josh Allen?
Well, I guess the question now is, you know, we see this happen every so often where the term I've been using a lot as of late, lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. So was that season last year lightning in a bottle, especially that game with the Chiefs? Was it just one of those years where things just clicked on all cylinders? people still talk about how Timmy Smith ran for like 8,000 yards in the Super Bowl and never did
Yeah.
anything again in the NFL. Guys who were huge studs in college and get drafted and fade off in obscurity after the first season. So was it a case of right place, right time
Mhm.
that last year? And now we're really starting to see now that we're peeling away the layers that who Josh Allen really is. That I don't know. I have a question for. I still think Josh Allen is in there. I just can't. I can't with the nickname. I can't say it. I can't even bring myself to say it. But I think he's still in there. Something happened and he's got to figure out a way
Yeah.
to get by it.
Yeah.
Kind of like George McFly getting over his shyness and punching Biff in the face. He just got to get there.
No, I'm with you. I wouldn't count that man down either.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't do that. I think if you go into a football game underestimating Josh Allen, you're definitely gonna lose. Like that's
Absolutely.
just big. So like like I said, what Minnesota did is capitalize on some mistakes. But if you go in thinking, oh, Josh Allen, he's got this, blah, 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 we're going to cook him like Minnesota did. Nah, you already lost.
No, absolutely.
Like, you already
Absolutely.
lost. Like, you can't
And look,
think that way.
I understand the interceptions, but look, in this league, you throw enough, everybody's going to get a couple. And look, they have no running game. You know what I mean? So this is going to be one of those situations where like, they're going to have to figure out a way that when Josh Allen is struggling to keep that running game going. You know what I mean? But now look, we all know what the score was, and they were up 27-10, but everybody's talking about one thing and one thing only. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show it to you right now because this catch, oh my goodness. So here it is, what many deem as the catch of the year potentially. What are your thoughts, guys? I'll come to you first. Handy, what do you think?
Ball is up and contested. Oh my God, he caught it. Justin Jefferson with the catch of the year. Sir, you just got mossed, Mr. Lewis.
Right.
But real talk, that right there. Oh man, wait a minute. I'm just now seeing it. I watched this 8 times yesterday. He one-handed it, and Lewis had 2 hands on the ball.
Oh yeah.
Cancel Christmas. This is the play of the year. ESPYs, are you watching? ESPYs, are you watching this? This is the play of the year right here. Period.
There it is.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the amount of strength that you have there. Think about it like this. If you arm wrestle with somebody, and you wrestle with one arm, and they wrestle with 2, 99.9% of the time they're going to win. He went up with one arm, with his arm back here, which physiologically speaking is not necessarily the strongest position for your arm to be in.
Oh yeah.
While leaning backwards with no leverage whatsoever because his entire body is in the air, came down and used all of his single arm strength to pull the ball away from Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Done deal. That's a done deal.
I mean, and the fact that he made sure it was a catch, just fundamentals, made sure that he didn't just grab it, he folded it in so it can't be questioned, right? And said, oh, it's not a catch. Because we've seen it many times where we're like, right? Like, what do you mean it's not a catch? So kudos to him making sure that he not just made that impossible catch, but he made sure that they can't reverse it, right? He made sure he tucked it in and he rolled it and made sure that it didn't touch the ground, tip, whatever it is that people are like, oh, it's not a catch, right? So honestly,
that is an incredible physical feat.
Yeah,
I mean, he did.
Kudos to him.
I mean, fighting off another guy with 2 hands.
Absolutely.
Not juggling.
Absolutely.
Going to the ground.
Sorry to change.
No, you're good.
I mean, look, it's got to be, if it's not the catch of the year, it's got to be up there. And I'm 100% in agreement with you, Handy, about ESPYs. You need to take notice. The fact that with one hand he was able to take that. I mean, come on now.
That was
catch
sick.
of the year by far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it might win out, but I'm just saying so far it is the best catch of the year. The only reason I can't say catch of the year yet is only because we still got like 7 more weeks, 8 more weeks of football. Right. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but it is number 1 right now. It's number 1 right now. But, we just got so many weeks of football left in the regular season. That's the only reason I can't say catch of the year yet. Mm-hmm. But it is in first place at the moment.
100%.
Oh, yeah. For absolutely
100%.
sure. So
I'm just gonna say dental
Oh
floss,
man, what's
crooked
going on,
hoss,
Jason? Look,
big
it is
balls,
absolutely look right
Cowboys
now is
lost.
one of those catches, but
He got
regardless,
mossed.
is by far one of those most amazing that you're just sitting here looking like, you know what I mean? Like, what in the world just happened? So, shout out to Justin Jefferson because obviously he's up there. He's up there, man. So we are going to quickly move on. And you know what? I'm gonna ask this question really quickly. Fingers, if you're still here,
I'm
definitely
here.
tune into it. One in 2022, we've seen what's happening. We've seen about all these quarterbacks doing great things, but in the NFL, is this a passing league? And real quick, or is it a rushing league? Delilah, we've talked about it. What are your thoughts, real quick?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is more passer friendly. We know calls are made for passing games, but I still believe that you need a strong running game. Look at the Bills lost. I feel like the Bills losing is probably a prime example of, yeah, of course it's a passing league, but if you let that running game slouch, you're going to lose games. You're going to lose games because they can't wind down the clock, right? They can't slow down. They can't slow down the momentum of the other team. They can't tire out the defense, right? Because we know that's one of the reasons we have a strong running game is to tire out that defense, make them work
Exactly.
for it. And so I don't think that we should abandon the rushing game. Like, that's just silly. But yeah, is it more passing friendly? 100%. But we just saw the
Yeah.
Bills lost because they don't have a strong rushing game. And so, like, yeah, so I feel like it's going to hurt you, like, if you don't have that strong rushing game, in my opinion.
Well, absolutely. And you know what? We're not all going to have the Patrick Mahomes, the Derek Carrs, the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, those guys who can throw it all over the place. Some teams are going to have teams that struggle. Justin Fields, you see how he struggled. Taylor Heineke, you see how he struggled. But the thing that is able to get those teams still moving and help those quarterbacks that are struggling, the run game. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to compare Justin Fields to Taylor Heineke who comes to running because Justin is by far better. But Taylor definitely has an escapability that we know Wentz doesn't necessarily have right now. And it helps because you have to respect the ability to run the ball from the quarterback standpoint. So, is this a passing league? Absolutely. But in my opinion, like you said, you have to have a running game because even if you Delilah, you just said it, nail in the head. Bills went up 27-10, couldn't finish them out because they could not run the ball consistently. So this is where we are right now with that. Mr. Fingers is going to hop back in. We're going to get him in here. But we are going to move on, Mr. Fingers. I'll ask you that. I'll let you answer that as we go. There's so many good wide receivers out there. However, you can find a good running back at Costco. Well,
really? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Question that based on what's been happening with some of these teams. I don't know.
I think we've seen a lot more running back by committee. And when you have at least one decently solid number one and then maybe a number two backing him up, things are definitely different. Oh, there you are. Handy, what you back? We're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you
yeah,
see
we
me?
can hear you. Yes, we can see you and hear
Okay.
you. Yeah.
I was looking. I've got the phone here. I'm looking at the YouTube feed. I'm like, I can see. I'm like, I know I'm not that black. Come on, fam. like we picked the wrong night to wear all black. What are my thoughts? Passing league or running league? Well,
yeah.
Well, I put it to you like this. It is definitely a passing league. It should be, like Delilah said, it should be a combination of both. But we know what puts butts in the seats. Quarterbacks going out slinging for 300, 400,
Absolutely.
300, 400 yards. Maybe once or twice a year. There's really only one or two running backs that are allowed to shine. Like the biggest running backs in the league right now, King Henry, Nick Chubb, Pollard is on the come up. He really hasn't
Mixon.
done a whole bunch. JT, right? You got a few, but for the most part, it's all about getting that. Like, what are they looking for in the draft? A quarterback. Quarterbacks are always first, second round. Running backs, third, fourth, fifth. So the front offices have leaned towards having those quarterbacks with those arms and having those receivers that can run like cheetahs and all of that good stuff, and hands like Justin Jefferson. So I definitely think that the league is definitely a passing league. It is by design a passing league.
Yeah,
but
for
they
sure.
need to bring that back to 50-50.
Yeah, because let's not forget that Dalvin Cook helped win that game. I feel like
Very
I
true.
love I love
Eh,
I love Justin, but he still had an 81-yard rushing touchdown.
Right.
They couldn't stop him. Like he mowed down. I mean, he's a big dude. Dalvin Cook's a big guy, and he
Yeah.
just mowed down everybody. And so like I do feel like if that is a difference maker. Like if
Mhm.
you're trailing or if they start shaking your quarterback, right, and you got to get to the running game. Like a lot of these elite teams have been losing, right, with these elite quarterbacks because their running game ain't strong, right?
There
Because
it
once
is.
they start shaking Tom Brady, I know he's won some games, guys. But when they shake him, they don't have a strong running back core right now to make up that difference. So they were dropping a lot of games.
Yeah.
So I do feel like again, Bills they only have a Singletary.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it,
And
right?
Naheem
Like,
Hines, but he's
and
a pass catcher.
but you know what I mean? So like they don't have the 49ers, their running game, they have so many people they can actually count on. They
Right.
got CMC. Debo, if they need him, could switch. We know that, right? And he's got the incentives to actually, if he wants to, they'll pay him, right? To get
Mm-hmm.
these these rushing yards and get these rushing touchdowns and stuff. And so I do feel like let's not be too hasty in making sure that you don't have a strong running game. That's all. Is it a pass league?
Absolutely.
Yes. But
Yeah.
don't drop your running game.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we all know that in order to stop, the number one way that is proven to stop these great quarterbacks is to make sure that they're sitting on the sideline for most of the game. I mean, Washington had 40 minutes out of a 60-minute game, 40 minutes of time of possession last night. Okay? We just they weren't Hurts didn't have an opportunity to beat us because he wasn't on the field for most of the first half for sure, but for most of the game, and it makes a difference. So definitely have to have that running back. Yeah, buddy. But look, we have to move on. That was the coin toss. We appreciate you guys talking and going back and forth in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to give a quick little commercial. I don't know if y'all know, but Let's Talk Football, NSD, all these shows, Mr. Finger Zagnif production, we got stuff going on. We're constantly coming up with new shows. But my favorite is when people that started off with what we got branch off and do their own things. And the first couple of the Let's Talk Football community, the Swintons, Ash and Sydney, they got something, ladies and gentlemen. I know y'all heard of Manning Cast on Monday, but y'all need to watch Swinton Cast Sunday nights. Check this out. Yeah, buddy, ladies and gentlemen, that was the
All right.
Swintons Unfiltered. Shout out to Ash, who right before they went on, 5 minutes before they went on, created that. Like she put all that together in 5 minutes. So yes, definitely watch them. Stay tuned to what they got going on. And speaking of Ash, she used to be on one of our shows, and we still hold out hope that she will be still coming back to Let's
Come
Talk
on,
Football.
Christmas break is coming on. You could come on one or two shows,
Right,
and then go back to teaching. I get it. I'm a teacher.
Yo, but we still love you. You know it, Ash, and the door is always open. But she was one of the hosts, along with Janae Struther and Katie Alverson, but another one of the hosts, and the host of Diversity with Delilah. She got a segment next, ladies and gentlemen. It's called This Day/Week in NFL History.
All right. Hey, everybody. All right. So I don't know if you were aware, but there was a time in the U.S. where you couldn't really do too much on Sunday because it was the Lord's Day. And I understand. I'm not against it, right? But on November 12th, 1933, the first NFL football game was allowed to happen on a Sunday. in Philadelphia's Baker Bowl. It was the Eagles versus the Bears, and it ended up a tight game. But prior to that, sporting events were actually illegal on Sundays, like across the U.S. And so that was the first time that they were like, all right, we're going to play a Sunday game. Happened to be the Eagles and the Bears, and it ended up a tie 3-3. So there you have it. You could be thanks to that game for starting off, the Sunday football tradition. So so there you have it. November 12th, 1953. Unfortunately, there was a judge that ruled that the NFL can black out some of your TV home games. So if you're ever upset or like, what's going on? Why can't I catch these games? They gave the NFL the power to block out some games if they want to. This is something good for Bobby. On November 12th, 1995, Dan Marino breaks Takerton's NFL all-time passing yardage of over 47,003 yards, right? So Dan Marino kind of broke that record. November 14th, 1993, Don Shula officially becomes the winningest coach in the NFL. Right? We know that Mr. Bill Belichick is trying to get up there into first place. He's second right now because he passed, Papa Bear. So right now he's on his way. But yeah, Don Shula, he is considered still the winningest coach in the NFL. November 16th, 1969, the first sitting president actually attended a game. That was U.S. President Nixon, and he went to a Cowboys and Washington, at that time, Redskins game. Well, don't cheer too much because y'all lost that game. Sorry. This was in 1969. Sorry. But anyway, but it was the first time a sitting president actually attended a football game, and that's the game he chose. November 17th, 1940, the Packers actually become the first NFL team to travel by plane. Must be nice. So they're the ones who kind of kicked that off of traveling to different parts of the country to play games by plane. And then finally, on November 19th, 2018, the Rams beat the Kansas City Chiefs 54-51. I remember that game. It was wild. Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. It was the third highest scoring game in NFL history. First time that two teams actually scored more than 50 points in the same game. And of course, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, man, 6 touchdown passes. Most in NFL football, Monday Night Football history, okay? Not in NFL history, but the most on a Monday Night Football game. He threw for 6 touchdowns. So that loss was wild because it wasn't because of Mahomes. He threw 6 TDs that game. That was a wild game. I actually remember that game. That was crazy. But it happened on November 19th, 2018. And there you go. There's some stats of this time and this week in the NFL.
Yeah, buddy. I can dig that. I like that, Delilah Crespo, except for the Cowboys beating Washington.
I know. I'm sorry about that.
Good. She did that so cold too. Like, yeah, don't get too excited because y'all.
No, I didn't want to say yay because it was one of those games. Because I was like, no. Cool stat, but no.
Right. But yo, thank you so much, Delilah Crespo, for this day/week in NFL history. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more of Delilah. Yes, and I mean more of her as in being a broadcaster and a sportscaster and a host. Definitely check her out Thursday nights on Let's Talk Football Ladies Takeover, but also Sundays whenever we do Let's Talk Football Game Day Sundays. Diversity with Delilah is there. Last week she covered Pat Tillman, and it was definitely a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, but another one coming up. If y'all do, if you do go on Sunday, I have one ready to go.
There we go. So we definitely got to say thank you for that, Delilah, bringing us all these news and notes. And yeah, you did mention the Dallas Cowboys. And so let's just stay right there. Hopefully you Cowboys fans are still in the comments because we're going to cover a game this week. And this week's game of the week, the Dallas Cowboys versus the 8-1 Minnesota Vikings. Anthony Handy, I know this hits close to home with your wife being a Cowboys fan. My dear buddy Janae, Cowboys fans. We know Ash, David, all these people that somehow have this disease of the Cowboys fandom. I don't understand it.
Wait a minute. I don't. Babe, man, you lucky my wife does not watch podcasts. She'll be like, disease, huh? Okay, I got something for you.
Well, I apologize, Mrs. Handy. I do apologize. I did not mean that. But yo, talk to me about this one because we know what the Vikings have done. We just saw they came back against what everybody thinks against the Bills, who everybody thinks is going to the Super Bowl. The Cowboys are 6-3. They won a couple games with Cooper Rush, but now Dak is back. Zeke was hurt. Pollard is doing okay, but they don't really scare you. Talk to me about this game.
The Vikings are better than everybody thought they were. You know, the Vikings have never really been terrible, but they've never been dominant. Not in recent years, and so they are They are one of those surprisingly good teams in the league this year. They seem to be enjoying it. They're out there having fun when they play. You know, your former quarterback is doing the whole Magic Mike thing. They're having a blast doing what they do, and they are looking really good doing it. Yeah. On the other side of that coin, we have a team. Wait, Sean, what month of the year is it again?
It's November. November.
Ah, okay. It is, huh?
Yeah, it is.
You don't happen every month of November, right? Hold on. Veterans Day, Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, that team that everybody thinks is going to the playoffs starts pulling the Diddy Creed and showing us who they really are.
Hey, I got you. Hey, look, I got you.
Seeing the reality. We've been talking about this. David's like, he was excited in September. He was excited in October. All of a sudden, November came and he went, oh, what's happening here? And then now December's about to come. And the Dallas fans recognize, like, oh, we peaked too early.
Man, look,
there we go.
Every year in that trade,
God.
every year since 97, 98 when the dynasty guys retired, and that train is never late.
Yep.
I mean, Tony Romo balling out. He got one good vertebrae left in his back, and that was getting ready to run out. And November came, and he's like, you know what? I'm retired. Like, seriously, it's just,
yeah.
I don't, I mean, can they prove us wrong? Maybe. I think they have a little touch of the guy that sits upstairs in the booth and still has too much say in what goes on. But that's just my 2 cents. I think that team that plays in Arlington is far too talented to underachieve annually the way that they do. And I mean, we saw it. Green Bay lost how many games in a row before they won on Sunday?
Right.
A bunch.
5, yeah.
Wait. 5? I thought it was 3. Green Bay lost 5 games. You lost to Janae. Your squad lost to a team that lost 5 games in a row.
To be fair to them, there is this. So everybody talks about like Bears, Packers, and I get it because we're in the division and we are the oldest rivalry in the NFL. But no one thinks about Packers and Cowboys because they really do have a long-standing rivalry. Every time the playoffs came, the guys that knocked them out of the playoffs was the Packers. It's just they have a storied history, and Aaron Rodgers beats them all the time. I mean, Janae it's just there's something. It just happens.
9 out of the last 11 games, I think. Aaron Rodgers
it's ridiculous. Like I don't even know how to explain it. So my only upset is y'all let him get started, and I don't think he's gonna stop now. That's the only reason I'm really mad. Not because y'all lost. It's like, God, now you guys ignited this man.
This guy.
Anyway, but yeah.
But I wanted to ask a question. Out of those 9 of the 11 times that they won, had the Packers lost 5 games in a row before they played out?
No.
Okay.
No. To be fair,
okay.
no.
See, okay. Your Honor. States Exhibit C. I'm just trying to make sure I get all this stuff right. So you're talking about a team with an aging quarterback.
Yeah.
Playing against a team that is a team with an aging quarterback with no superstars other than him and the coach that lost 5 games in a row. That means that they had won a game since the first part of October.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
October, before it got cold, before the kids came around and the costumes begging us for the diabetes candy and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And y'all, that's the team you lost to.
It's
I
You
know.
ridiculous.
lost to the Mushroom Man.
But look,
Come on, Jerry, you let your
there's an
boys
X
lose to the
factor.
Mushroom Man.
There's an X factor, and this is what it is. Like Delilah, and I'm coming to you, Delilah. Like you said, Aaron Rodgers seems to have Dallas's number.
He just does.
On the flip side, we know on paper the Vikings have Dalvin Cook, Thielen, Jefferson. They got Hawkinson. They got a defense, but they also have Kirk Cousins. And if there's one team that Kirk Cousins calls daddy, I'm not afraid to say it. It's the Dallas Cowboys. He has had terrible, terrible luck with the Dallas Cowboys, starting in Washington. And even last year, when the Vikings were doing solid, they lost to Dallas again. So that play, we know Aaron Rodgers, like Anthony said, he had nobody, and he still was able to get the job done. So we know that messes with people's psyche. Could that mess with Kirk's psyche? I know you like that and everything, but he can't seem to get over the hump of beating Dallas.
I don't know. I think, you know what? I think last week with the changes and stuff, that little ritual they did to play, they activated. It activated the powers of his 6-pack. You know, like he went Super Saiyan. So he's ready to. I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know. It's almost
and
like
they both lose.
I would like that.
Only if it's a tie. Only if it's a tie.
Right.
That's the only way they both lose if it's in a
What do
tie.
you think?
Man, I just gotta say, listen, I'm actually concerned only because they are going and they're playing at Dallas. You know, it's and it's a Thanksgiving game. It's like, so there's a lot writing on it. I'm actually surprised that that's not the evening game. It's the midday game.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it should be flipped, but whatever. I feel like that should be the Thursday night Thanksgiving, like after we eat. Anywho, but yeah, no, it's possible if they do what they did to the Bills, right? Or not, but not trail. I don't mean that. I mean, they got to go out there and put points up on the board right away. Because regardless of this loss, their defense is really great. I'm not going to take that away from Dallas. They have a really strong defense. And so, like, even though, like, they lost an OT to Green Bay, let's not ignore the fact that their defense is super solid. Micah is definitely going to be out there eating. He's definitely going to go for Kirk Cousins' throat, like, what I'm saying? Like, and so I feel like that they need to quickly put points on the board. They got to figure out how to get that run game going. They got to make sure that JT, to mix in Hawkinson, because they're going to be all over JT. And we know that he can make catches, but is he going to do this every game? We know statistically it doesn't really work out that way, right? And so they really need to make sure that they mix in some of your other, wide receivers, your tight ends, and Hawkinson and Thielen. Yeah. Like, they actually have two really strong tight ends that they can actually pass to, kind of mix it up, because they're gonna triple like Justin Jefferson. There's no way that he's not gonna be completely like covered and crushed. And so like they gotta have a game plan for that, because Dallas, that's basically what they're gonna cover. They're gonna make sure that kid can't get the ball. They're gonna go after Kirk. We know that he gives up interceptions, right? So like we know he gives up the interceptions. We saw he gave up 2. And so like that defense is gonna go after them hard. So I think that they definitely need to not trail. They actually need to go in winning. They have to go in ahead.
Start fast. Absolutely. So this is actually the Sunday game on the 20th. And then they also then Thursday, the Thanksgiving game's 4 days later. So both of these teams in the next
that's week, right. I'm sorry.
But both of these teams in the next week play 2 games in 4 days. So this game on Sunday is going to be one thing, but then you talked about Dallas has the middle game on Thanksgiving. Yeah. They play the Giants, who are no slouch.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what I mean? And then the Patriots play Minnesota. So this is going to be quite interesting. Delilah, I'm going to come to you. What is your score prediction? Who do you think is going to win this one?
I'm still going to give it to Kirk and the Minnesota Vikings. I think they're going in hot. They're on a hot streak, and I think it's going to keep going. But I think it's going to be by a field goal again. I think it's going to come down. I think that if there's a jinx, there's something with those field goals.
Yeah.
And I think that like Vikings will win by a field goal.
Oh, I like that. Mr. Handy, what you think?
I got the Vikings by roughly a little more than half the score. I'm saying it ain't gonna be no more than 5.
More than 5?
No
Yeah.
more than 5. It's gonna be somewhere in that 3 to 5 range. Like a touchdown will put them up by 5, and that's what's gonna be the difference.
Okay.
I like that. I like that. Last year, Dallas won 20-16. And Zeke potentially comes back this week. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna make this pick just because I don't want my fiance to make me up to show me pictures of Kirk Cousins with his shirt off and chains on again. Dallas wins 21-20. All right.
All right. Cool.
I think honestly,
woo, that's hella close.
right. But I think, to your point, we know Kirk Cousins is prone to throwing interceptions. That defense is pretty solid, and if you can get Zeke and Pollard going, Dallas can be a threat. Now, I don't want to see them win, but I think that them having these 2 games within 4 days is going to be a big issue for them. But I think they escape out of this one. So we'll see. We shall most definitely see. Handy.
Sir.
Oh, I already got yours. I got yours. I got everybody's. All right. Sorry.
Yeah,
a little flustered here. We're good.
He said that with his whole chest, just so I don't have to hear about Kirk with his shirt off.
Listen, he was thinking of Nick at home, sick in bed in spirit. Okay.
Right. Let's go. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna move on real quick. We do want to let you guys know we have a bunch of other shows going on today. Like I said, the fantasy show is going on in a little bit, and then tomorrow the Washington football show, Football Weekly, and the NFC South show. Thursday's got a show. We got a lot of stuff. We're gonna show y'all the commercial really quick, and then come back with my guy Anthony. Yeah, buddy. Those are all of our shows on the Let's Talk Football community.
Hey.
We have so many. And if you saw towards the very end, it said you get all your NFL and college updates. So in the Let's Talk Football community, we have a couple of college football shows that focus on the ins and outs, the stories, the news, the good and the bad and the ugly of college football. And on Monday nights, hosted by the fans of the defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs, Mr. Anthony Handy with his brother from another, Colin P. from the DMV. They host a little show called This Week in Georgia Football. And right now, Anthony's going to give us his rookie spotlight.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show so far. Sean, Delilah, myself, Sean standing in for our co-host at home, Mr. Nicholas. I want the smoke. Rosario, get well soon, my friend. We'll see you soon. If you guys are enjoying what you have been seeing, please make sure to hit the like button. Please make sure to give it a share, and please make sure to smash that subscribe and let everybody know the Let's Talk Football the Roundtable is on. I'm here today. I'm not here talking about like, shares, and subscribes, though. I'm here today to talk to you about my rookie spotlight. You guys know I've been talking about some guys, and I'm not gonna lie to you. This is my first year doing any kind of analysis of individual players in the NFL outside of the Atlanta Falcons. And some of these rookies I pulled out have been doing the doggone thing. But this week, now that we're into the season, I'm just kind of going through and looking at some of these guys and some of these guys that have been standing out. This particular rookie comes to us by way of not too far southwest of where I am right now in Fort Worth, Texas, where he attended Arlington Heights High School. He was a 3-star. Okay, he was a 3-star recruit. This is going to show you just how much of a lie that star system is there. He was a 3-star recruit, and he was committed to play football at the University of Texas in San Antonio. And those of y'all that were paying any attention to college football, even if you haven't, UTSA is no slouch. They are a very, very good football program. So he went to a very good football program. He turned down some offers. He turned down offers with Texas State and Houston and North Texas. Okay. We're talking about Tariq Woolen, ladies and gentlemen. He redshirted his freshman year at UTSA. But as a redshirt freshman wide receiver, he wound up catching 15 passes for 158 yards and 1 touchdown. And then he started the first 3 games of his redshirt sophomore year before he moved to cornerback. Okay. And this is where sometimes it plays to be receptive to your coaches. Because sometimes a coach will pull a guy, Sean played football, he can attest. He's seeing where a coach is going, hey, man, I think you'd be better at such and such. Sometimes it's good to just go, all right, coach, we'll give it a shot. Well, he moved to cornerback, and the rest, as we know, is history. He wound up having an incredible year that year. He wound up playing in the 2020. He was invited to play in the 2022 Senior Bowl. Went to the combine. Peep this out. Are you ready for this number right here? He ran a 4.26. I'm so excited about saying that number. I can't help it. Shay just came out. Ran a 4.26. That boy run fast. And he was tied for third best. Oh my God. I got to look and see who was the fastest. 4.26. Ooh. Combine history. And the fastest for a player that was over 6 feet tall. So he was selected by the Seattle Seahawks in the 5th round of the draft with the 153rd overall pick. Now, peep this. This is what this young man has done since he's been in the league. He's got 5 interceptions. He's got 36 tackles overall, 30 individual tackles and 36 tackles overall, so 6 assists. One of those picks was a pick 6. And that pick 6 was against the Detroit Lions, I believe, in week 3. And his last pickle, he got against the GOAT, Tom Brady. I don't mean to make fun of his shoulder. He don't really make that noise when he throws. Then again, who knows? He might. But he got one against the GOAT, Tom Brady, not very long ago. This kid, let me just tell you this. Watching this guy's highlights, with that speed that he's got, it allows him to play off the receivers. Like when you got an end route, he plays off the receivers and tricks the quarterbacks. I've seen him do time and time again in these highlights. Play off, run in, bow, make a play on the ball. Play off, run in, bow, make a pick. The other thing that he does, he's got hops like a receiver. He's 6'4.5" and only weighs 210 pounds. So he can hop. If he got legs strong enough to run a 4.26, then he's got legs to hop. I've seen him go up and contest for those 50-50 balls and come down with a great amount of the time. The other thing is, we talked about that 4.26 speed. He can motor. The kid can motor. One particular highlight that I saw, Taysom Hill took off around the left edge. I guess he was boxing out. Tariq was boxing out. Taysom went kind of cut the corner and went by him, had a 12-yard lead, was streaking towards the end zone. You know who caught him at the 7-yard line, tackled him, and stripped it and knocked the ball out? That's right, Tariq Woolen. Excuse me. I'm getting excited. My mouth is getting dry. I get so excited when I talk about these guys every week, ladies and gentlemen. It's just to see these guys and what they're doing. And for me, being a somewhat new to NFL analytics, I get excited about this stuff. It kind of makes me wish that we could get more than 2 games a week here in Oklahoma so I could watch more of them. But that's a different story for a different day. Looking at you, Cox Cable. Anyway, um, so in a 4-game stretch, he had 1 pick per game. So for 4 straight games from week 3 to week 6, he had at least one. He had one interception per game. Like I said, right now he's got 5 interceptions. Now, what does that mean? That might not mean much to many of you, but there is a guy who is a Hall of Famer. And most of you know who he is. If you don't know who he is, you must have been living under a rock for the last 30 years. But he's a Hall of Famer who is well known for being a ball hawk. And his total amount of interceptions in his rookie season was 5. He had 5 interceptions this rookie season and 39 tackles altogether. Ladies and gentlemen, he won the only primetime Deion Sanders. And right now, Tariq Woolen has already matched that total and is almost caught up to his tackle total. I mean, the kid was clocked at running at 23 miles an hour, okay? You know how fast you got? Well, you'd be running at 23 miles an hour. But 23 miles an hour is very fast. I think Usain Bolt was clocked at like 24, 25. This kid running 23? Oh, man, what in the world? Look, kid's so fast, he moved before you can see him blink. Matter of fact, I'm going to stop calling him Tariq. That's my new nickname for him, Blink. So if you have not been checking this kid out, playing for the Seahawks, you have not been paying attention. Now, let's be real. Geno Smith, the resurgence of Geno Smith, has been doing some great things there with that offense there. But a big part of that success of that Seahawk team right now has to do with the kid that they drafted with the 153rd pick in the 5th round of the 2022 NFL draft. And his name is Tariq Blank Woolen. This has been your Rookie Spotlight. I appreciate y'all listening to me this evening. We're going to turn it back over to the show. Take it back there, Godfather.
That was great. Thank you. That was awesome.
Appreciate that, Mr. Handy, my guy. And this has been another edition of the Rookie Spotlight. Yes, sir. Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, we know our guy, Mr. I Want the Smoke, is not here. He's a little bit under the weather. We wish you all the best, Mr. Nicholas Rosario. Definitely going to hold it down for you until you're able to get back on this show. So Nicholas will send me his Knicks picks. And so you guys can definitely keep up with that. At last he was what, 7-1 the last 2 weeks or something like that. And he had been doing pretty good. I don't know what's happened since then, but
he wasn't a good run, but yeah, I don't know this week. I don't know.
Right. I don't know who he was picking this past week, so we will definitely see. But look, ladies and gentlemen, when we have guys that are not on the show, we still want to give you a little taste of what they got. So we're gonna give you a little something, a little quick commercial on our guy, because this guy, he got jokes. He makes all of us laugh. We'll be right back with one last thought.
So I'm going to take the Lions +3 in this one over the Patriots. If anybody can tame a bird, it's definitely an. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This gentleman is on the show, and yet during my segment, what is he doing? Playing around on his computer, making notes, telling jokes, trying to be a funny guy. Do I do that during your segment, sir? Do I sit there and make comments? Do I laugh at you? No, I do not, sir. What is this? I thought we had a better relationship than this. You know what? Don't make me go Shannon Sharp on you, because I'm telling you, let me tell you something there, Skip. I don't think this is right, because you be making comments during my segment. I don't think this is funny. I don't think it's funny at all. And let me tell you something else. When I was playing for the Broncos, I caught every pass that threw to me. Let me tell you something, Skip Bayless. That's what I'm saying to you. Take that. So anyway, there you go.
Jokes aside, that is a dope Shannon Sharp impersonation.
Classic.
That is our guy, Mr. Nicholas. I Want to Smoke.
You cut me deep, Rick. You cut me deep.
When he goes into that, let me tell you something there, Skip.
No, I was done. I was done. When that came out, I was like, no.
Stop, Nick. Oh. So, Nick will definitely be back with us hopefully next week. But we definitely want to hold it down. But we definitely want to give him a little bit of time and some spotlight. But look, we're at the end of the show. We appreciate all of you guys being here with us, all you guys that have liked and shared and subscribed and enjoyed the conversation. But we're at that time. We're at one last thought. Ladies and gentlemen, Delilah, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. No. All I wanted to say is that tomorrow's never guaranteed.
Yes.
So that saying is true. Don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Honestly, just we know what's been going on. Anytime we see so many things going on, and so just take that time to, say what you need to say to people. Do what you need to do. Don't try, and I know it's hard, right? But if there's someone you really care about, you love, try not to end it in anger, right? Try to make those reparations. Try to reach out, give your sincere apologies. You know what I mean? Try to rebuild those bridges if you want to rebuild them, because we just don't know anymore. Like, there's no guarantee, there's no promise. And I feel like the worst thing is regret. Right. Regret is one of the worst things to feel in life. I feel like it's, and one way to avoid that is to just kind of confront what you need to confront, talk to who you need to talk to, and then let it fall where it falls. Honestly, some of the way I feel is like, even if it doesn't get repaired, but at least you tried, you made that attempt, it was done. You know what I mean? And so it may not be 100%, but at least you went out there. If there's people you care about, you love, tell them I love you. Or text them if they're miles away or something. You know what I mean? Let them know, like, I love you, I care about you, how are you doing? Do your check-ins with people, because you just never know. And so it's just, it's just not worth putting things off, and just, just don't waste the moment. Value your second, value your days that you were given, because we don't know, right? We know that there's certainty, right? Death and taxes, right? That's certain. We know that, right? That's the reason why it's a saying. And so just don't put things off, guys. Honestly, like, y'all go out there and just talk to people, say, hey, how you doing? Like, it's just there's just too much going down. So
Truth.
Go ahead and do what you need to do, talk to who you need to talk to. But that's my one last thought.
I like that. Absolutely. Mr. Handy, what you got, man?
Delilah, you and I are on the Vulcan Mind Meld today. I don't know if you can see. Seriously, I'm not even being funny. I don't know if you can see this. The shirt says "Less life, more living."
I love it.
This is actually, by the way, this is new. This is new in the catalog. You see the logo.
Hey, go ahead and promote yourself. Go ahead and promote.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
ZagnifApparelDesign.com. If somebody would be so kind as to throw that in the comment section right there, Mr. Producer, Moderator, Mr. Lila. This is a place where you go get them. Zagnif Apparel, right there. There's a signature logo. But I wanted something that just said something other than just the logo on it, or something cute, or talking about football. Just something to have a message. And the guy at the gas station was like, yo, that's pretty deep. But seriously, less life, more living. I work a job. It's supposed to be a 9 to 5. I try really hard to kind of hold myself to 8 hours. But at the end of the day, I am wiped. And then I come home. And then, I come home and I'll either try and fix dinner or try and coordinate with the missus for something to eat. And then there's trash to take out. There's dishes to be washed. There's clothes to be done. And thank God it's got cold outside, because there's no more yard work to be done. But there's so many things that are going, gas in the car and maintenance on the car. This one's got to go here and that one's got to go there. You find yourself dealing with life more than you do with living. Like, living is being able to take time and, metaphorically or literally, if you want to, smell the roses, plan a trip, get in the car and just go for a drive. And my wife and I used to get in the car back in the day, and Sean, you from the same neck of the woods, down the Fairfax County Parkway, headed down towards Burt, where you could see the leaves changing in the fall. Yep. We used to just get in the car and drive down the parkway and look at the leaves and how beautiful that was. Or go to the park and goof around with the kids. Do less life and do more living, because if you keep doing life, you'll look up and you won't have much living left to do.
Very
I
true.
think that's one of the saddest things that we as people, at least in this country, one of the saddest things that we do is we wait until all the youth and all the vigor and all the everything is out of us before we start living. That's why you see all the old folks traveling and stuff. That's the stuff they wanted to do when they was 20 and 30 and 40, that they gave somebody else all their good time, and now they're trying to make the most out of the time they got left. So less life, more living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there is the Facebook link right there that Delilah's put up. We will let that run in the crawl. Unless you got a different link.
It's actually ZagnifApparelDesign.com.
Okay, I got that one off Facebook. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. Yeah, ZagnifApparelDesign.com.
Right,
And this one will be hot tonight after the show is over.
Really, I like that.
Yeah, I got the mock up because I wanted to trademark the. I have an application in to trademark this saying.
Do me a favor, stand up real quick so we can see, because the mic is kind of covering the. Goes over. There you go. I love it. See, less life, more living, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to get one of these, Andy, tell them exactly where to go.
You can find it. You will be able to find it after this show is over at ZagnifApparelDesign.com. That is ZagnifApparelDesign.com. I spelled that without looking.
Get him. There we go. Thank you, Delilah.
Hey, look. That come from 30 years of listening.
I got it now.
They call me US HERRA.
O-N-D.
That Gwen Stefani with BANANAS.
Yeah, but at least she just spelled out bananas. Usher decided to spell his whole name, like all right,
Whole
sir.
name.
Yeah. Okay, Usher Raymond. Yeah.
Look, yo, side note, I remember the first day I actually realized what he was spelling. I was like, Usher, oh, he just spelled his name. I would sing it for years and just not know that's he spelled his name. I was like, oh, well. I was like, U.S. you know.
Right.
Let me stop.
Let me address another quick question in the comments before we move to the next
Fingers.
topic.
Yeah.
Bobby, to answer the question where the name Zagnif came from, my stage name is Mr. Fingers, as in they call me MISTAFINGANZ. Okay, so what I did was I took fingers, I spelled it backwards, and that's where Zagnif came from.
There it is. I love that. Yeah. So
see what I did there?
Right.
Watch this.
All right, I got to take command of this to end this, and I think I've been good.
Lucky number 7.
I've been good.
Lucky number 7. You did good. You did good.
Yo, so honestly, and kind of piggybacking on what both of you guys have said, you know, you really got to take the time. You really have to. You have to almost be disciplined and force yourself to take the time to spend with family members, with friends, with stuff. That's why I absolutely love doing all these shows, and I never get tired of it, because if there was ever a time where I'm like, dang, I haven't talked to Delilah, I haven't talked to Handy, Tuesday night. I know where you guys will be. I know what time you'll be here. Either I'm on the show or I'm in the background. Boom. You need to go out there and do that, because even people don't know what we're all going through. Some people are, Facebook and transparent and everything, but a lot of the people I know, I think I can speak for you guys. We hold our cards close to our vest. And a lot of people won't tell you that they got a whole bunch of stuff going on in their lives. And especially at this time, look, we just got through with Veterans Day on the 11th, and shout out to all of our veterans. Mr. Handy, definitely appreciate your service. All of our family members and friends and all those that serve, we definitely appreciate that. And then we got Thanksgiving coming in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, when these are all good. But we also got to remember, and Delilah, you mentioned it over the time, a lot of people in these times, it's very hard. I mean, especially Veterans Day, you talked about it, because the other side of that is Memorial Day. The veterans are the ones that came back. Memorial is the ones that weren't as fortunate. And so when the veterans, a lot of times, and Andy, you talked about it last week, a lot of times it's almost like a survivor's guilt. Like
100%.
Right. I made it. They didn't. Why am I? There's a lot of that. So you have that. And then you have Thanksgiving, which is literally right after that, 2 weeks away, where it's Sometimes it's their first Thanksgiving without family. So you just gotta tell people how you feel, and you gotta be earnest with it. And sometimes you gotta just open up. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that y'all really do not know a lot about me outside of what I talk about. But November 11th is very important to me for multiple reasons. One, obviously, most of my family has served from World War II all the way up to the most recent conflicts overseas. But November 11th also marks the 20th birthday for my son. Jonah Alexander Birch turned 20 on the 11th. And I don't really express that and talk too much about that. The people that are closest to me know about it. He's at Belmont College. He's doing great things. He's into music. Not as much into sports as I am, but hey, that happens. My dad wasn't really into sports. It was my mom that really brought me into this. So you really have to take time to go out there and say, hey, what's up? Even if it's just that. Even if it's, I don't want to talk to you, Dad. I don't got nothing to say, but just what's up? Just how you doing? My sister called me the other day out of the blue, and we talked for 30, 45 minutes. And for a long time, I thought she didn't want to talk to me. She don't ever call me. She didn't blah, blah, blah. And she was kind of thinking the same thing. And we kind of came to that conclusion in that conversation. My son's birthday, I hit him up and how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything? Yada, yada. And no, it wasn't, he didn't need anything and everything like that. But it was still, at the end, it was good to hear from you, Pop. And it was like, whew, where we came from, where I'm not going too deep in it, but me and his mom weren't on the same page with everything, to that point where we're at now, 20 years later. It makes me look in the mirror and say, oof, good gracious, you're getting up there. But at the same time, you're sitting here like, look, I know you, I ain't there yet. But at the same time, it makes you grateful, because you don't realize, like you guys said, you don't realize the time that you had, or maybe the opportunities that you have, until you don't have those opportunities, or you don't have that time anymore. So even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you have it in your mind that the person or the people don't want to be around you, don't want to talk to you, you go out of your way to do that and talk to them and say hi, be thankful. Kat says it all the time to me. He says sometimes it's you saying something, it's you reaching out, it's you saying, hey, I just thought this was really nice that you did, or I really liked what you said over there, that makes people's day. And you have no clue. Because like you said, Handy, we're always caught up in what's in front of us. I got to do my work. I got to do this. I got to do that. And we miss out on the fact that, we're all living and struggling. We need each other, period, point blank. You know what I mean? Like people think that, you do all these shows, you don't need anybody. You can do this by yourself. No, I can't do this. I told y'all in back, y'all are pros. I don't get flustered often, but I've been work. I had to move. I had to do this and that. And I kind of got jittery. My headphones stopped working. I jumped out, and y'all, like clockwork. That means something to me. It does. It means what we're doing is worth something. And we're going to continue to do it. So to my son, happy birthday. To any of you others that I have not talked to in a while, I love you and I care about you. You guys know how I feel about y'all. I love y'all dearly, and I appreciate y'all giving me your time after work, after, dealing with spouse, children, significant others, everything like that. You still don't find it a crime to give me a little bit of your time to talk this thing that we love in football. And I appreciate that so very, very much. That is my one last thought, guys. I think we're all on the same page. Take time to be around those people that you care about. Talk to them, because I'm going to say something. The three individuals that we mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show, I guarantee they didn't know that was going to be their last day. They don't know if they could have had the opportunity to say something. We don't know what relationships went unmended or didn't, get to have that last little word. So make sure you go out and say that thing. Say what you want to say, even if it's something that might cause a little friction, but still go out there and talk about it, because talking, airing it out, now we know how each other feels, as opposed to not saying anything and then you both go to sleep. But I don't mean sleep at night. I mean sleep permanently without knowing, and we're both on the same page, wishing we would have said something. So that's my one last thought, ladies and gentlemen. I like I said before, I got to thank the two of you. It is an honor and a blessing to come and join and co-host with you guys. You guys are so much fun, so many laughs, and we get to talk football. This is what I love to do. So I absolutely love it. I appreciate you guys so much. Nick, Mr. I Want the Smoke, Mr. Get Off My Lawn. Love you, brother. Get better. Definitely get better, because we cannot wait for you to come back and join us. Woo! So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it, man. You guys got anything else to say?
Oh no, that was great.
You did a good job taking command of that, sir.
There you go. I like that. Command, baby. Let's go.
I put one. Wait, hold on. I put one in my column. There we go.
Right, yeah,
Look.
Wait, what am I at right now? Am I at 8? I'm at 8.
You had 7, and then I got one. That was me giving you the alley-oop.
Right, yeah. Oh, I took command of that one, and we're commanding that you
didn't put the Vince Sanity on it with the arm to the elbow though. But we'll work on it.
I will say this: if you guys are fantasy football people, I command that you go watch Let's Talk Fantasy Football. They have started the Swintons, Ash and Sydney Swinton, David Wright, and they got one of the friends of LTF. Dalton Andrews is a friend of those guys, a friend of ours on the show. So we're definitely tuned into that. Appreciate you guys being here with us. But hey, this is the Roundtable. We are going to let you go. For myself, Mr. Sean Spencer, the Commander, the Chicago Bear, host of Diversity with Delilah Crespo. Hey, brother from another. And I want to say all this stuff to you, the sexy mother Hubbard, all that stuff. You did all that.
Look, that intro just keeps getting longer every week. Right. I actually took the intro and broke it down and posted a video short of it today. That's how long it got. It used to be like, hey, I'm Mr. Fingers. He's calling P. What's up? This is This Week in SEC Football. Now he's got like this 8-minute introduction. Right. Like it's a WWE walk-up. He's getting ready to cut a promo.
Right. Yo, hey, real quick, before we get off here, ladies and gentlemen, I want another guy that's in our group, Nathan Snell, Nathan Snell on YouTube. He has a lot of shows, a lot of things he's doing. One of the things he does is a final message. In that final message, there's a song that plays. And I don't know if you have heard it, ladies and gentlemen, but you need to hear it, because our guy down here is the one who sang the song that's in there, and it's fire. I remember I played it for I played it for Kat. And she was like, I was like, Kat, just listen to this. Just listen to it. And she was like, oh, who is that? Is that some singer? I said, that's Anthony Handy. Getting it done. Yes, sir. And I think, I thought you froze for a second. You was just
I was just sitting there taking it all in. I really, you know what? Honestly, I don't talk a whole lot about the music, because the whole reason I did that album was I started doing music when I was like 16, right? And I always wanted to do an album, and I was with this hip hop group, and I used to beatbox and be kind of the beatbox, and because I couldn't really rap, so and I hadn't really grown into my body yet, so I was very awkward. I was no good at this hip hop dancer. Then I joined the Army. Then I played as a frat. Then I joined the Army, and I got married, and I had kids, and I just never got around to it. And then right before I got out, I did a couple of songs, one of which is on that album. But then about 5 years ago, I was like, I'm going to do this thing. I always tell my kids, if there's something you want to do, pursue it. Don't ever let it, like the poem by Maya Angelou, what happens to a dream deferred? Mm-hmm. Does it wither and dry like a raisin in the sun? So I went on ahead and talked to my wife, and she shook her head at the dollar amount I was going to have to spend to get all the gear. But I went down to my favorite spot, Guitar Center, bought a bunch of stuff, and about 8 weeks later, I had a 6-song EP being mastered and remixed and mastered and ready for release. And that was the end result.
There you go. And
and I don't know how Nate found it, because I never talk about that ever. I don't talk about that with y'all. But Nate found it, and he was like, "Yo, have y'all heard this?" And I was like, "Where did you find that?"
Finds everything.
But I mean, much love. I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it.
Yo, definitely. Look, we gotta let you go. Appreciate y'all being here with us. Hey, we'll see you next time. Take command, ladies and gentlemen. You got this.